For the first time since the start of the war with Iran, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth testified on Capitol Hill. Here is some of what he had to say.
President Trump, unlike other presidents, has had the courage to ensure Iran never gets a nuclear weapon, and he's ironclad. The biggest challenge, the biggest adversary we face at this point are the reckless, feckless, and defeatist words of congressional Democrats and some Republicans.
Pennsylvania Democratic Senator John Fetterman joins me now. Senator, always good to have you on the program. You have been, in general, supportive of this war effort and the prosecution thereof. Are you still supportive of the war aims and how it's going?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I support that. I think what Secretary Hegseth said, I wouldn't use the kind of terms and I wouldn't have the kind of insults. But, part of it, without a doubt, the Iranian regime, absolutely, the Iranian regime, loves the Democrats. Absolutely. For me, because I think it's necessary to hold the Iranian regime accountable. And we really must demand that they can't have a nuclear bomb. And absolutely, I support that. And that happens to be the most toxic person for a Democrat to agree with right now with President Trump. But I follow the truth in that. That's why I think it's important. I'm going to continue to vote and to support Epic Fury.
And when the defense secretary says the biggest adversary the Pentagon faces right now is Democrats on Capitol Hill and some discouraged Republicans, do you agree with that?
I'm saying like the issue is that what we constantly remind the Iranian regime is we have to hang on to 60 days, and then now we can vote and stop Epic Fury for that. I think we should all just be unified right now, because it wasn't that long ago all the Democrats, rightly said we must never allow Iran to acquire a nuclear bomb, and here we are at the cusp. Why can't we just empower the president to direct the military at one point, make sure Iran can't build a nuclear bomb? That's why we're here. We're $25 billion in, 60-some days coming up. Why would we just vote now, stop, and walk away and back away and allow Iran have the possibility to ever build a nuclear bomb?
Senator, do you believe that the negotiations going on right now can, in fact, create a deal to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon, and the regime that is in power will be willing to enforce that deal?
Well, what I'm hoping is I love to watch with the blockade and break the Iranian regime. Without a doubt, they are choking off their lifeblood of oil, and now they're quickly running out of their ability to store oil, but they must continue to produce that oil. But if they shut down those oil wells, effectively that's a death sentence to those wells. So can we continue to inflict damage and now push the Iranian regime closer to possibly a regime change? But, the simple goal of this war must be, we must never allow them to build a nuclear bomb. And now we don't have to agree with everything with Epic Fury that's happened, but since we're here, why can't we just collectively demand, all right, let's make sure that we force them to turn over the nuclear material at this point?
You and I were both at the White House. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Mary. Let me say this. Yeah. It was never controversial for a Democrat to say this. 3 months ago, every single Democrat would have said that we can't allow Iran to build a nuclear bomb. Kamala Harris, running for president, said Iran was her single biggest concern in international. Here we are, $25 billion in, with the Iranian regime battered. Let's finish it off.
Many Democrats, to that point, Senator Fetterman, said that they would have preferred that the president, meaning President Trump, stick with the Iran nuclear deal negotiated by then President Obama. Are you happy that the president, meaning President Trump, got rid of that deal and is now using this kinetic warfare to try to achieve the same goal?
Now, well, clearly, I'm not going to criticize President Obama for that. I mean, that was an option and pursue that, but it really wasn't effective. It wasn't working because Iran. Let's be honest, Iran was always going to try to acquire a nuclear bomb. They don't need nuclear, peaceful kinds of thing. And there's no moderates in the Iranian regime either. That was always their goal. And that allowed them to just put it off and pretend and hide behind that. So holding them accountable in a kinetic way, I support that. I'm going to continue to support that. And why Democrats never have, for me, that's why it's largely defined by the TDS. And when something that we used to all unanimously agree, now unanimously with essentially just me, besides me, doesn't support those things. Why?
TDS, a reference, I presume, to Trump derangement syndrome. In that regard, Senator, you and I were both at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. First, your reaction to what happened that night in the moment, as you recall it, and what, if anything, do you believe the relevance is of what happened Saturday night, the attack on the president and other senior officials that was attempted, and the need or necessity for a White House ballroom?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I mean, you were there, Major, right? I mean, you couldn't, how packed that is. And you all know where we were all sitting, and you had, Rubio, you have Hegseth, you have Vance, you have President Trump. We have all of these people within effectively, 200 square feet. And now we all remember Oklahoma bomb back in 1995. I mean, could you imagine if whether it's Iran or whether if it's enough people organize this to place the bomb, in there, and that could have turned that quickly into like a decapitation of our nation there, depending on how successful that is. We can't ever allow to put our line of succession in that kind of close places, and definitely not in the kind of a facility just like that. So for me, that's why I'm always going to continue that. Let's just move on and let's put in a ballroom. And
Senator, we have a picture of you at the event, and it doesn't appear that you are kneeling down or taking cover at any level. Did you at all, or did you feel fearful enough to do that?
Well, I mean, it wasn't about a fearful thing, but it's like, clearly something dangerous was happening, and I just wanted to witness this and find out what it is, or maybe if there's someone trying to charge the stage or whatever. I just wanted to be very present there, and I'm not gonna, hide under a table, though.
Pennsylvania Democratic Senator John Fetterman, always a pleasure, sir. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.